Hello, it's Stephanie with Coffee, Paper, Scissors. I've been working for several days on creating these curved spine journals. Well, the inside I worked on a while ago, but the cover I have been working on for a couple of days. This is my first attempt, and I think that they turned out really well. I'm not really finished with them. I have to figure out what I'm going to do here and if I'm going to add something here. I just liked that was there. I don't know, maybe that is enough. But the next two videos will be the process. I used somebody else's process, so I will link those videos in my description box. And I hope that you'll watch. They're long, you guys. I know they're long, but give it a try. Just don't do two at once, because that's very stressful. Why do I do this to myself? So yes, I hope you'll join me and follow along in the next couple of videos to see how it's done. I don't know if you remember, but before my most recent journal, I had started on a journal. I don't even remember if I had like called it anything, but I was working on two separate journals. They're the same, basically the same papers. And I was going to do, for the first time ever, the curved spine. But then I realized I didn't have anything long enough to curve the spine around. So I started another project and finished it, and then decided I better do this or I'm going to have an unfinished project staring me in the eye. So I just ran across the street to the hardware store and I bought, I believe this one is a 4-inch. You guys, the curve on this isn't going to be very big. But since it's the first one I've ever made, I thought conservative is better, just because, I don't know. I just think. I am going to try and get this done in one video, like the whole thing, so I'm not messing around. You need your cuts to be very straight, and mine aren't. So what I decided to do was I took a piece of paper and I matched it up. This one's not long enough, but I matched it up, and that gave me a straight line all the way around, if that makes sense. So like, here's my piece of paper and I matched it up. So that gives me a guide, and I only left it on here to show you how I did it. So I took a paper long enough to wrap around. And so now this cut isn't straight, but this tape line is straight, and we definitely want it to be. All right. The video that I watched, the lady used an old record album cover to create her spine. I'm using the backside of a paper pack. She did 2-ply. I'm going to do 3. What she said was important, and I will link her videos below. It's like 4 or 5 videos. I'm going to try and get it in one. I don't know. It's going to be long. Her channel is called SparkBird Studios, and I will link it. But she said you want to make sure when you're cutting it that you find the grain of the paper where it bends the easiest. So if I had cut it this way, it wouldn't have bent as easily as cutting it this way, okay? So then she starts by gluing her layers together. And I'm just going to use the art glitter glue. I do not recall if she said one was better than another. And, you know, it's going to make a mess. I have a paper towel, and I think what I will do is lay it down. So we just want to make sure that they're nice and even. And just probably a little bit of glue will squish out, but that's okay. And I can feel a little ridge where there's glue from the scrapbook paper being stuck to the paper pad. You don't want that. Little things will show when you're, because I'm going to cover it with fabric. Okay, so my next layer. And, oh goodness, I mean, I hope I'm doing this right. She wet hers down when she went to put it on the pipe. I'm kind of wondering if I had maybe should have wet it down a little bit before putting that last layer on, but I don't know, we'll see. Okay, it really seems good. I'm gonna make sure that it's nice and lined up and nice and squished down, okay? The reason why you need a really straight line here is because if you put it on sideways and you get a sideways curve, that is not gonna work for your spine. So you wanna be able to line it up. And yeah, this is gonna be a very mild, I'm gonna kind of get it going a little bit. Very mild curve, but that's okay. First time is just learning. So like I said, I believe this is 4 inches. Okay, so she said you want a piece of scrapbook paper that is bigger than, but it doesn't have to be crazy bigger than, but it just needs to be bigger than. And while you're making sure you stay on your straight line, you take your paper, and you can do it so that you can see it. And then you take tape and you tape it to your pipe. So you just need your tape to be long enough okay, and then you want to cover the whole thing. So nice and tight as much as you can. And I'm sure there's going to be like a little wiggle and stuff in the camera. I'm sorry about that, but girl's got to do what a girl's got to do. And she said that it dries really fast. I forgot to wet it. That was really, really not good. Okay. Maybe if I just undo one side. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay, water bottle. And even though we're wetting it, she said it dries really fast. Okay, again, make sure it's nice and lined up. So that wasn't too much of a disaster, right? I hope. I think it's fine. Nice and tight, nice and tight. So yeah, she said it dries really fast, but she said if you can leave it for an hour, that would be good. And, you know, you can move on to your next step or whatever while it's drying. And again, cover the whole thing, because if you don't, you'll have weird bulges, I guess. And if you're really good and you space it really well, you won't need to use nearly as much tape, but I need to make sure I've got everything covered. Of course, I'm being extra careful because of it being a first try. So this right here it stops right there, so I'm not concerned about that end, but this end's where it starts. I want to go ahead and make sure it's being held. All right. So 1 hour, and we'll see how that goes. It's the next morning. I don't remember why for sure, but I had to quit. I think it was time for dinner. So it sat way longer than an hour. I would say 10 hours maybe. So I'm going to go ahead, and what I decided to do was since I'm doing 2 journals, I decided to do one on this side and one on the other side. So my other spine is on the other side of this. That way I didn't have to wait to get them both done. So, yeah, I mean, it's curved. And it seems flat. I'm nervous about it, but okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pull the other one off as well. Maybe. It's weird. You would think that it wouldn't dry being stuck to something non-porous and then being covered with tape, but it does dry. I'm going to go ahead and pull this off and get rid of this stuff. I don't think I need it. I don't think I need it. All right, and then take a drink of coffee. Where can I put this to get it out of my way? That's a good place for it. Okay, right. Let me make sure that I'm sort of straight. So I have one of those non-stick craft mat thingies. I've had it forever. It's Ranger non-stick craft sheet. There's the information if it's something you want to look up. I don't know if I got it at a craft store. I don't know if I got it on Amazon. Like I said, I've had it forever. Okay, so we are going to, you know, the ribbing. Oh, I'm gonna need that thing. The ribbing that's on curved spines, the little lines that go across. We're going to do that next. And I've cut a whole bunch of, we're just gonna do one. I'm gonna get this out of the way. The lady that I was watching used jute, but I keep on thinking that you guys are totally not straight. So what I am going to do is, not that you have to be totally straight, but you know, this thing is slippery, and so I don't want it to get all wacky. So there we go. Now it'll stay put. And I'll know that I'm in camera. She used jute, and she used 2 strings of it right next to each other. And I have so much like little thin cardboardy type cardstock. I thought I would do that instead. And she just kind of eyeballed it, and you know, that's fine, but I think I'm going to do some measurements. I'm going to do a 1/2 inch on either end. And then what is my measurement here? It's 8 3/4. So 8 is 4, and then 1, 2, 3. I think it's 4 3/8. 4 3/8. 4 3/8. Okay. So I'm going to do 1 1/2 inch up from the bottom, 1 1/2 inch down from the top, 1 in the center, and then I'm going to do another one. I'm going to do 1.5 inches. So 1/2 inch down, 1.5 inches down. 4 3/8. And then down here, we're just going to do 1/2 inch. You don't have to do this, but you know, if you're going to all the trouble to make a curved spine, you might as well do all the fun things. So this is pretty thin cardstock, and it was just a scrap that I had, so I'm just going to kind of center it on my little mark there. And it will hang over the edge just because I didn't know how real long I needed it, so that's fine. I will cut it down. And then I don't want any glue seepage, so I'm taking one of these little tools that I think they're, I don't know what they're for, like the using your Cricut and stuff. I don't know, the vinyl. I don't really know what these are really for, but with the little ball on the end. But it works pretty good to get the glue off the edge. And then you just have to cut that thing off there, whatever's your hangover. And it's not the easiest thing to do here. These are really like, gets to the edge type of a thing. Singer scissors, I don't know. I got those a long time ago as well, so I'm not really sure on that. Honestly, one is probably enough. This is probably overkill. I'm tempted to pull it off, but here I keep going. I'm going to do it. Might be better to have this cut right at the length you want it, honestly, because this is a pain in the rear. When she did the same thing with the jute, but the jute is more, you know, pliable, so. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to trim these down just a hair, and I'm going to go ahead and ooh, I almost goofed. I almost did 1 inch instead of 1.5 because I measured from the top down 1.5 instead of from this down 1.5. So it needs to be here. Okay, so I'm gonna, actually, before I do that, I'm gonna show you the other thing that needs to happen. And where did it go? Here it is. So I'm gonna do the rest of these off camera and show you how that looks. But also, on the cover, I have taken a butterfly die and I've doubled it. And these little squirrely things. And then I've marked the center of my cover. I'm going to glue it as best as I can. Let's see what I think is the up and down. They look about the same. Now this is, again, it's 2 layers of cardstock. And you want to do your best to get them very lined up, apparently. I mean, I don't know, because I've not done this before, but that's what, you know, she was saying, that you have to be pretty precise, because when we go to paint over everything, and she said things show up. Now, I was using art glitter glue, and I was trying to line it up and it's off by a little bit, but we're just going to see what happens. To me, I think it's going to be just fine. I probably have too much glue on there and it's going to seep out, but I'm going to use this thing again. So my marks that I put are one's up here and one's down here, and I'm just going to kind of try and get it lined up that way as best as I can. Okay. And then I'm going to take the skinniest end and go around and get any of the seepage, because I guess those things will show up. And of course you have to work fast because the glue dries fast. I don't know if you can see the glue that's seeping out. And this probably isn't very exciting to watch, but I figured it was important to mention because she did. So, and I don't think, so this is my first time doing this. I don't think it was her first time doing it. No, in fact, I know it wasn't because she showed other books that she had made. Okay. And then these ones I'm going to glue down. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to glue them down like this. I'm just eyeballing it. So I'll get everything glued down, all of these, and then show you the next step. Okay, I have all of the things glued down, and then I took, was it on this one? No. I took this little very fine sander, and I just sanded the edges down just a little bit. Maybe more particular than I need to be, but again, since I've never done this, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter. She, like I said, she used jute, so she didn't have a sharp edge. And it's probably not even, you know, visible to you, but I can see the difference. There was another thing that I forgot to do that she did. She took a piece of cardstock and glued it into the center. It's not going to be seen, but I think she just did it for the sake of more strength. I think I need to trim it down just a little bit. Okay, yeah. And she used the fabric glue because she said, you know, you don't want to get it wet because being wet is what molded it in the first place. So probably not a good idea to get it wet again. But if you don't have any fabric glue, then I guess you can always do this and then put it back on your, whatever you used for a form again. And again, since I'm doing two of them, I'm going to go ahead and just do the other one right now. Even though that's adding like a minute probably to our video, and I'm trying to get all of the steps in one video. Of course, that means it's going to be a long video, but you know, it's all action the whole time. Oopsie, I forgot I need to trim this down. You see that action right there on the edge of your seat action? Our next step is gluing the front and back of the book cover to the spine. So that's pretty exciting. All right, it seems to be where it needs to be. I mean, it's staying. I don't know that I need to do that. Okay, it doesn't feel wet at all, so that's a good thing. Okay, so the next thing is a piece of fabric, and she said that the fabric needs to be 4 inches wider than the width of your spine, and what was it, a quarter? Yeah, a quarter of an inch shorter. Okay, so you want to be able to see the top and the bottom of your spine. Okay. Oh boy, I'm nervous about this. And we're just going to get gluing. We're just going to do it. I'm using muslin. She took it and she folded it in half so that it was easier to place. I'm using the Fabri-Tac again. This is the one she did. She did this side. Yes, she did this side. And oopsie, okay, so I'm messing with it. She folded it in half so that she could more easily find, you know, just like place it in the center. And then open it up. You want to be careful not to put pressure, like just, you know, flat pressure down on it, because then that will maybe cause your spine to break, and we don't want that. I think that's good. I'm gonna put just a little on the edge just to make sure. We don't want it going anywhere. Oh, it's coming out. I need to wipe that off. I'm going to be using it here in a second again anyway, but I don't want it oozing out. Okay. Okay, important that we want the upside up. And then we have our journal front. And our journal back. I need a journal back. I have so much stuff laying around here that I'm not really where I want to be. Let's see. So we're going to be gluing this to like this. Now she had a dowel that she was using. I think it was a 1/4 inch dowel. I don't think. I do have a dowel, but no, my dowel is like a 1/2 inch dowel. So if you have something, you know what you could use? You could just cut a piece of, you know, like cardstock that's a 1/4 inch. I wonder, do I have something like that already? Doubtful. I have something that's, here, let's just do this. I'm gonna come here and I will make something. Is that a 1/4 inch? I don't know. It looks like it might be. I mean, I think it's fine. It'll be something it'll keep it lined up, I think. So let's go ahead and get some glue down. And you want the front of your journal on this side. So when you're gluing down, it would be your right side. Lots of glue. I'm going to put a little bead right on the edge. Come on, Stephanie, pick it up. And I can tell I'm not really lined up here. Okay. You also want to make sure you're lined up with your spine. You know, like, and the, oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. Okay, so this part isn't easy. And when you're putting your glue onto the porous cardstock, it dries pretty quickly. All right, that's gonna ooze. All right, so I'm trying to eyeball it so that it's lined up here. Because oh my goodness, my fabric will move. I don't know. I don't know. Seems like a lot of, it just seems like way too much. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's good for you guys to see. Things don't just, you know, work out real easy. It's okay. It's okay. You can pull it off and do it again. That 1/4 inch seems like a lot to me. I don't know. But it's probably correct. And I'm probably not going to end up with a good... Okay, I'm going to use this straight edge and try and line it up that way. Okay, I feel like the straight edge worked better for me, but also it could have been all of the attempts, and all of the attempts has just made it a little, it's like gappy right here. We're just gonna say that that's good because I'm not pulling it off again. Got glue all over me. I don't want glue stuck to anything. Okay. This side will go more smoothly, won't it? Because we know what we're doing now, she says. So there are, I think, 5 videos, maybe 6, 5 videos, I think, showing the process, and then she does a 6th video that is the flip through of her journal. So I'm trying to fit all of it into one. What am I thinking? I hope my phone can even handle doing it, because, you know, that's a lot for phone storage, and so I don't have a lot of storage on my phone. I don't know, we'll see. I don't know, that looks fairly right, doesn't it? Okay, there's glue, and I don't want the glue on my journal because we're gonna paint, and things will show, like globs of things will show through, so we don't want that. All right, so that's what the inside looks like. I hope I did that right. And that's what the outside looks like. Okay, all right, I'm gonna let that dry. I've switched to wax paper just from the kitchen because we're going to be using some Mod Podge, and I didn't want to have to clean up that other mat. This I will just throw away. So this is dry. This is dry. I didn't have to let it sit for very long. And now we are going to cover the whole thing with muslin. I think, you know, it doesn't have to be muslin, but something thin is what she said. And I just cut it, I don't know, let's see, it's about 2 inches on the sides extra, and then maybe 2.5 to 3 inches on the tops extra. Doesn't really have to be that much, but you know, it just a rough cutting of it. And then she started Mod Podging, and she had a bigger brush than me, which I think would be nice, but I don't have that, so I am just using what I have. She started with the spine, so I'm going to start with the spine, and you just want to make sure you get glue all around all your edges, but not on the front cover yet, so just want to wipe that. And I don't know, I'm following what she did. So if there's a different glue that is meant to be used for this and you're aware of that, then use it. I really don't know. There's probably a specific bookbinding glue. I obviously don't have it, so. And she, again, she showed other journals that she has made doing this, and they're still together, so I'm assuming that this is okay. And I'm hoping that I'm not using too much. Here goes nothing. Make sure I still have plenty around all my sides. Okay. So then she just started, she used her hands to just kind of mold it into place and then around everything. And that's why you're wanting a thin fabric, so that it can, you know, fit into all the crevices that you might put in your, on your spine and cover and all of that. I don't know how long this will take to set. And then also, okay, stylus, that's what this is called. But you can use your stylus to make sure everything is sticking where it's supposed to stick. And I don't know. Yeah, it's staying. Okay, I couldn't tell. And then as you stick it down in one place, it'll kind of pull up in another place. So you just have to keep going back over it. So I'm thinking I probably could have done a little bit more glue. I'm not sure. Honestly, we'll see. I'm using the back side of my fingernail. And I'm not pulling too much. I can see that it keeps coming. I'm wondering if I put a little, I wonder if it would go through. Because, like, if you don't have enough on, I'm just poking it down into the glue a little bit. Because, you know, it's okay if it seeps through. I mean, the whole thing is going to be painted over, so I'm not too worried about that. So yeah, that worked. So if you find a place that you feel like you didn't get quite enough glue, glue it from the top. So yeah, on my next one, I'll make sure to put a little bit extra glue right around those edges that, you know, make the creases, or whatever you want to call it, indentations, I don't know. And then let's see, my bone folder just to do the edges. feel like that's working. How does it look to you guys? I'm going to move it over a little bit. Okay. Yeah. It looks like it's gone in everywhere that I want it to. It looks like. Now, she let hers dry for a little while before she continued on. I really feel like it's staying. I feel like I'm going to go ahead and move on. And hopefully I don't regret it. I can keep coming back over and playing with it. Right? I can do that. Okay. So next, it's going to be I need to put glue right in here. Yes, she put glue there. So that's what she did. So I'm going to just kind of get it going. That is a lot of glue right there. Honestly, I feel like this is the part that I would need to let dry a little bit longer since it's fabric on fabric. Kind of looking over here in the corner. Yeah, I think that that's probably what I'm going to need to do. I think that this is not the way she did it, but that's a lot of glue, Stephanie. But I can mess with this part. Let's see. Okay, yeah, no, this is good. This is good because I think I'm telling myself. So you definitely want to be doing this on something that it's not going to stick to. So like I said, I have wax paper down there. It's coming away a little bit from here. Either that or it's glue. I'm not sure. I think it's okay. I just need to, oh yeah, look at that mess. Let me wipe that up. It's definitely wet right here. But, I mean, it's gonna need to be, right? Okay, I think that that's fine. And so then we need to do this part. So we need to make sure that we don't have any little lumps that we don't want. Check where I am. Okay. When I stand up like that and my chair moves, I've probably said this before, I'm always afraid my chair is going to move far enough that I'm going to fall. So far it hasn't happened. So she, you know, really emphasized getting a lot of glue into all of the little nooks and crannies on your embellishment or whatever you want to call it. And so I don't know, is that too much glue? We're going to find out. I don't think so. I mean, yes, there's like pools of glue in there, but we'll work it out. And then, of course, I need to get it all along the edge. So you don't need to worry about ironing your fabric because it gets all glued down, and you know, that does it for you. Hopefully it's not too much glue. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. It seeps in pretty quickly though. And definitely a larger brush would have been my friend. But like I said, I don't have one. This, I mean, unless you're talking like house painting brushes, but that's a little overkill. This part's gonna be long. You guys, I'm so sorry. This is gonna be a long video, obviously. And most people are only gonna watch if they are gonna try and do it themselves, you know, like to this point, so. Okay, Stephanie, you need to get it down there. Here goes nothing. I think I said that already. Okay, and then, let's see, I have another one that's even finer. This is a tiny little tip that, oh boy, this is gonna be something. And I think, you know, I have to work quick-ish. I mean, this is gonna be like over and over again because there are so many little places for it to go. Maybe I need to do this first. I don't know what I need to do first, honestly. Maybe squish it down with my fingers first. This seems good. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so honestly, you guys, I am gonna sit here and I'm gonna go round and round and round over and over again, pushing down until I feel like I've done the best that is possible. It dries so fast. Again, it's the porosity of the chipboard, and I don't remember. She was using something else. She wasn't using chipboard. I don't remember what she was using. My design, my butterfly design might not be as crisp as I had hoped. Maybe I use a fabric, this fabric might be a little too thick, and you know, I don't know though. Maybe it's gonna be just fine. Maybe it's just me freaking out. I don't know for sure. Okay, I'm gonna sit here and go round and round and round. I'm ending this video where I was going around this over and over again with the embossing stylus. And as you can see, I fussed more than I needed to. It worked out on both of them. I hope you'll join me for the next video to see the final steps in the process. Thanks for watching. Bye.